נתחיל. אז ערב טוב לכולם. הנושא של השיעור היום זה שימוש בתרופות ותמרוקים בפסח. You have two isurim of chametz. You cannot have chametz in your house, bali reo, bali matzeh, and you can't eat chametz. Two separate isurim that are not connected. In other words, you can, even if you don't eat the chametz at all, just having it in your house is forbidden. So when we want to discuss these topics of having medicines and having, if it's makeup in your house on Pesach and using it, we have to ask both questions. Can I have chametz makeup and medicine in my house? And if I can I eat it or slash use it? Those are two questions we are going to discuss. So we're going to start with the basics, and that's the fundamental one is having it in your house. If I can have it in my house, then we can discuss using it. So having your house is the easiest. Why is it easy theoretically to have it in your house? Because the Mishnah tells us that anything, as a beit, it tells us that chametz that's not worthy to be eaten by a dog there is no problem of having it in your house on Pesach. So therefore, all different types of chametz that are not edible if it's soaps, if it's economics, if all these different economica, if it's not meant to be edible, then there's no issue of bali reo bali matzeh if a dog won't eat it. Another heter brought down in the Gemara is if I have a tarov chametz, a mixture of chametz, that means not loaf of bread, but rather I have, let's say, some kind of food that has a bit of chametz in it. In that case, it's even more lenient. It's enough that it's not worthy to be eaten by a person, and I can have it in my house. So two options to having chametz in my house. If it's proper chametz, like pasta, bread, etc., that or liquor, that type of chametz has to be not worthy of eating by a dog. However, if I have some kind of food or medication that has a bit of chametz in it, it's enough that the chametz is not worthy to be eaten even by a human being, even though a dog would eat it, and therefore I'm not over on bali ra'el bali matzeh. Again, that's only regarding the question, can I have it in my house? Okay, so most of our medications and cosmetics, they're usually not proper chametz. They usually just have enough chametz on it, a person won't eat it, and therefore there should be no problem having them in your house. The question starts, and this is where things get, with one exception. This is an exception where it gets more interesting. Before we move on and using it, I just want to close the question of having it in your house, and that's regarding Play-Doh. Play-Doh, for those who don't know, is chametz. Many times the Play-Doh they make just flour and water and other stabilizing ingredients. Now, my kids' Play-Doh says edible on it because kids eat Play-Doh. That's what they do, and it smells delicious. If you ever smelled Play-Doh, it really smells very good. So the question is, can you have Play-Doh around your house? We said that if a dog won't eat it. If it's a tarov, if it has a bit of chametz in it, small amount of chametz in it, then it's enough that a man won't eat it. But if it's mostly chametz, like Play-Doh is mostly chametz, then it has to be that even a dog won't eat it. But Play-Doh is eaten by kids around the world. It's delicious, right? So can you, a dog would eat it. So can you have Play-Doh around the house? So big machloka between the poskim. More machmi poskim said, no, you can't, and you should be selling your Play-Doh. So when you sell your chametz, have in mind to sell also all the Play-Doh in your house. Even, of course, you can't let your kids play with it, but you should even sell it with a mechirat chametz. However, more lenient poskim, and I tend to, personally, this is what I hold by, they do not have to sell your Play-Doh, even though it's edible. And that's because a different seif in the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch brings down that if you take a loaf of bread and say this loaf of bread is not to be eaten, it's meant to use as a pillow, as a cushion, you designate it to a purpose other than eating, then you're no longer over on bali matzeh. Why? Because the issue is to have food, chametz in food form. If chametz, I designate it to be something other than food, then there's no problem having it in your house, even if it's a loaf of bread. The Gemara says you take a loaf of a piece of dough and use it as a pillow. Take a pillow, fill a pillow full of dough, and say that's my pillow. That's not a problem of bali matzeh. You might not be able to eat it, but you can have it in your house. Why can you have it in your house? Because it's not food. Similarly, Play-Doh is designated to be played with. Play-Doh, right? It's not, even though kids eat it, that's not it, but it's designated. I'm sure no parent buys Play-Doh for his kids for them to consume, and therefore you can have Play-Doh around the house even without selling it. So that is close up what we said regarding bali matzeh. Anything that's not edible, if you have proper chametz, that's mostly chametz, then it has to be not edible that even a dog won't eat it in order not to be over on bali matzeh. If it only has a small amount of chametz in it, then even though we know chametz isn't batel and Pesach, if it's a small amount of chametz, it's enough that even a human being won't eat it, in order not to over, just to have it in your house. And therefore most medications and makeup you can have in your house. And we said even if it's regarding Play-Doh, even though it's edible and people, even human beings can eat it, according to many poskim, you can have it in your house because it's designated for a toy and not designated to be consumed. That is end of part 1. Part 2, where things get a bit more complicated, is when you want to come to eat it. You want to eat the chametz, not the chametz chas v'chayil. You want to eat the medication. So we'll talk about medicine. Why do things get more complicated when you want to eat it? Because of a chidush of the Rosh. Rabbi Nasher brings a very big chidush. It's a big machlok of the Rishonim, but the chidush of the Rosh is what the Shulchan Aruch holds for halacha, and that's why we have to put it into account. When the Gemara says that if you do not have, the Gemara says that if the chametz is not worthy to be eaten by a dog, it's completely spoiled. Even a dog won't touch it. You can eat it on Pesach. You can eat it. Lichora, that's mash from the Gemara. Says the Rosh, wait a minute. If you choose to eat it, then in your mind it's food. Because what's the logic of it not being worthy to be eaten by a dog? As soon as a dog won't eat it, it's no longer food. And like we said previously, if you have a pillow, that's not a problem. The problem is if it's food. Says the Rosh, wait a minute. Having spoiled chametz in your house is one thing, but as soon as I decide to eat it, that makes it food. Yshivat, I gave it importance. In other words, there is nothing magical about the fact that a dog won't eat it. A dog won't eat it is a way of us determining if it's considered food or not. Well, says the Rosh, if you eat it, that makes it food. What is food? You can't argue on flavor and taste. If someone's willing to eat something, that makes it food. Therefore, says the Rosh, even if you have chametz that's completely spoiled, even though I said you can have it in your house, you cannot eat it. Why can you not eat it? Because as soon as you choose to eat it, you just turned it back into food. Therefore, the Rosh says that what leads to that even spoiled chametz that would not be eaten by a dog, you cannot eat on Pesach. That's why medication becomes a bit more complicated, because medication, usually when they make medicine, in the process, the medicine is not edible. Even a pill, we put in a pill, we swallow pills because the medicine inside is not edible to people. You taste it as a very bitter flavor or horrible taste. You can't eat it. But says the Rosh, I don't care if it tastes horrible. You chose to eat it. That makes it food. Now, before we continue, I want to bring an interesting point for you to understand what goes around in the kashrut world. The Rosh said this regarding eating food. He says as soon as you choose to eat it, it becomes food again. What happens if I want to not eat it, rather just use it? I want to enjoy it in a different way. For example, I have soap. I have economica. I have floor wash that has chametz in it. A dog won't eat it. Would the logic of the Rosh apply again if I say, well, wait a minute, you still want to enjoy it? Does that give it importance? Well, almost all the poskim say no. The logic of the Rosh is that bad taste makes something when the chametz tastes bad, it makes it no longer food. Therefore, when you choose to eat it, you return it to being food again. However, when it comes to laundry detergents, soaps, that logic doesn't apply because I want to use it. Okay, so what? I'm not making it food. Only by choosing to eat do I change its status. What do I care for using it? Not making it food. But there is a dat yachid, right? The Shalom Hashiv, the Minchat Yaakov, I think also brings it down that no, not Minchat Yaakov. This is the Shalom Hashiv. Shalom Hashiv, he said, no. He said the logic of the Rosh is different. It's not that when it tastes bad, it's no longer food. When it tastes bad, it no longer has any importance to me. And since it's not important, I treat it like we say in Bitul Chametz, it's like the dust of the earth. Right? The whole logic is, we say in Bitul Chametz, I want to treat the chametz like dust of the earth. As soon as something tastes so bad that even a dog won't taste it, it returns to be dust of the earth. Wait a minute. If you're using it as soap, using it as laundry detergent, and you're obviously it's not dust of the earth anymore. It has importance to you. You're using it. And therefore, it returns to be chametz. That's his logic, and that, based on that dat yachid, all these kashriyot, the badatzim, all the hechshers to economica and to soap and to laundry detergents, you can hechsher and kosher Pesach and any product. But that is a dat yachid. That's a very strict opinion that almost nobody holds by, right? Except for the big kashrut companies that want to make a lot of money based off of this opinion. But all mainstream poskim do not hold by that, and they hold that it only regards food, and therefore, when it comes to anything that's not meant to be consumed, you do not need hechsher for Pesach. Okay, moving. So we back to our problem. You want to consume medicine. We said since it tastes bad, it doesn't make a difference. If I choose to eat it, I'm still eating it. So how can we take medicine on? Can we take medicine on Pesach? According to that logic, no. If the medicine has chametz in it, no. Still, the poskim said there are brought two leniencies why we can take medication on Pesach, and I'm going to break it into two types of medication. First medication we're going to talk about is chametz that you swallow. Okay, pills that have chametz in it. The second type is going to be syrups that or flavored medicine. So non-flavored medicine, the poskim said, no problem. You can take not flavored medication, even if it's chametz. But we said the Rosh said, what do I care if it tastes bad? You're eating it. Two answers. First answer was, you're not eating it. You're swallowing it. Food is supposed to be consumed the way food is normally consumed, by chewing and eating it and tasting it. Taking a pill and swallowing it is shelo kederech achilato. That's not the normal way of eating food. And even non-kosher food, if you swallow it whole without, you wrap it up and put it in pill form and swallow it, there is no isur. If someone wants to eat non-kosher on any day of the week, he can do that by just putting it in a pill form and swallowing it, because that's not considered eating. Therefore, they said, you can swallow all the medication you want. What about the Rosh? There is no problem of the Rosh. The Rosh said, if you think of eating something, it becomes food again. I'm not eating it. I'm swallowing it. That was answer number one. Answer number two was, and this is brought by the Chazon Ish, and many poskim went this direction. They said, it doesn't return. The Rosh said, when I have food that became spoiled, and then I think of the food, I want to eat the food, it returns to be chametz. But here, I'm not treating the medicine as food. In my mind, the medicine is still medicine. Yes, I'm consuming the medicine through my mouth, but I don't see the medicine as food. If you ask someone swallowing a pill, what are you eating? He's saying, I'm not eating, I'm taking medication. He doesn't see himself as eating. So, and therefore, it doesn't return to be food again. The Rosh said, you can't tell me that it's not edible and therefore it's not food anymore if you're eating it. But in the case of medication, you can say that because it still isn't food anymore, but you're eating it. I'm not eating food, I'm eating medicine. So therefore, I don't see it as food. The problem was seeing it, as soon as you choose to eat it, you turn it back to be food. I'm not turning it back to be food again because I don't see it as food. So two different approaches why you can take medication, swallow medication. The first approach was, it's not eating, it's swallowing it. The second one is, I don't see it as food. I see it as medication. The Rosh said you can't eat chametz that tastes bad if you see it as, because that choosing to eat it proves that you see it as food. But here you obviously don't see it as food, you see it as medication. The big nafkamina between these two approaches, and this is halacha l'maisa. Now, when can I take medication and what type of medication can I take regarding swallowing it? According to the first opinion, I said it's not considered eating, we only allow that to chole she'em bo sakana. Someone who's ill, that he can't get out of bed, that he has either a migraine, or he has fever, or he has a prescription from a doctor to take medication, if it's antibiotics, or any other medication he has to take on a regular basis that makes it chole she'em bo sakana. Just like on Shabbat, he needs to take some medication. But if he wants to take vitamins, he has a mild headache, what we call in the halachic terms a michush, a small inconvenience, he cannot take the medication. Why? Because this loophole of not eating, I'm swallowing it, that loophole is we only allow to chole she'em bo sakana. Only to people that are actually sick can use that loophole. But if you're healthy and you want to take vitamins, or you want to take supplements, or you want to take something for a painkiller for a mild headache, you cannot use that loophole. That loophole wasn't intended for those mild situations. However, according to the second approach, that you don't see it as food, then you're not using the loophole of I'm not eating. You're using the loophole of, I never gave it any importance of food. I don't see it as food. I see it as medication. According to that opinion, anybody can take that medication. I mean, obviously, don't take medication if you don't need to. But if it's vitamins that have chametz in it, pilled vitamins that have chametz in it, you can swallow. If it's a mild headache, you want to take, go for it. There are no limitations, according to the second approach. So what do we hold halacha l'maisa regarding those type of pills? What's the machloket poskim? Chacham Ovadia, and many Haredi poskim, they write very clearly, only chole she'em bo sakana. That means if you want to take vitamins, you cannot take vitamins. You can't take supplements. You can't take, for mild headaches, you cannot take painkillers that have chametz in it. Only a chole she'em bo sakana, only someone who's not feeling well, not pikuach nefesh. Again, not pikuach nefesh, but he's sick, right? Has a bit of fever, can't get out of bed. He wouldn't go to work in that situation. Only he is allowed to swallow medication that has chametz on it. However, Arav Melabed in Pnei Halacha and other modern Orthodox poskim, Rav Dov Liog, they're more lenient and they say anybody can take any pill that regards swallowing it for whatever reason it is. Vitamins, supplements, there is no limitation. You can take it on Pesach. Again, based on the logic of the Chazon Ish, that I don't see the chametz as food, I see it as medication, and therefore the fact that I'm swallowing it doesn't prove that I see it as food. Any questions up till now before we move on to the last part? Okay. What about medication that has a flavor? I'm going to talk about toothpaste, right? Has a flavor. And sometimes you have sugar-coated pills that they want to put in your tongue. You swallow it, they sugar-coat it in order for you to make it easier to swallow. Are those a problem? So many poskim want to say that no, that does not change their status. Their status is just like the pills you swallow. Why? They base it on Trumat Hadeshen, and Trumat Hadeshen says that if I have ink that has chametz on it and I use it to write a scroll and I put the pen in my mouth and there's no problem even though you're tasting the ink. Why is there no problem tasting the ink? Because again, because the ink is not meant to be edible, it's not edible. A dog won't eat it. Even though I taste it, right? I'm not intending to eat it. I put it in my mouth. I'm not mitkaven to eat it. In order to it to become food again, I have to have in my mind, I am now eating it. So assuming, and this is true regarding toothpaste, the flavor you taste in toothpaste is not the chametz. The flavor you're tasting in the toothpaste is the sugar they put in it. The chametz part that might be the active ingredient in toothpaste that may be chametz is not edible to a dog, and therefore putting sugar on it, even though I put it in my mouth, would not change the status. Why? Because again, I'm not intending to eat the toothpaste. This is not true, of course, for kids' toothpaste. Kids' toothpaste, my kids, they grab they get a hold of the toothpaste without supervision. They devour it in a few minutes and it's gone. But that's definitely food. But if it's adult toothpaste, it's not meant to be eaten, even though there is a taste. Because it's not your intention, it wouldn't be returned to be chametz again. Same thing, most poskim write regarding sugar-coated. They say, again, the chametz still is not edible to a dog. Putting an outer layer of sugar, the sugar is sugar. Especially if it's capsules, the capsules are, the chametz is inside, and the outside layer is of sugar. That's, again, assuming that you know the outside layer is sugar and not chametz. If the outside layer tastes good and is with chametz on it, then that would be different. Therefore, so that's regarding pills and sugar-coated pills and toothpaste. Again, the logic would be the same. However, regarding syrups, there you have to be machmir, because syrups is meant to be consumed, meant to be eaten. And since it's meant to be eaten and meant to be enjoyed, they make the flavor that people can eat it. Therefore, syrups, the poskim agree, do have to be kosher for Pesach. So if I want to sum up shortly what we said regarding bali re'ovanim, it says having in your house, there isn't a problem to have all makeups and medication in your house. Regarding using it, eating it, we said swallowing pills is, according to all poskim, almost all poskim, is there is no problem swallowing the pills. Who can swallow the pills is a big machloka. Cham Ovadia and many other poskim hold that only cholesh en bo sakana can take pills, but vitamins and supplements if you're not sick, you cannot take. But more modern Orthodox poskim like Avdov and Rav Melamed, they allow even healthy people to take swallow pills that have chametz in it. That regarding toothpaste, and lipstick, sometimes lipstick or lip gloss that has flavor, we said that even though you can taste it, because the intention, you don't put on lipstick or lip gloss to taste the flavor. No one brushes his teeth with toothpaste to eat the toothpaste. Therefore, even if there is chametz there, it doesn't. The rule of Yshivat doesn't come into effect and doesn't return to be considered food, and therefore there should be no problem. Regarding syrups, there everyone agrees you have to have kosher to Pesach syrups, and And that's what most of these lists that we're going to go through for Pesach regarding akamoli and all these other medications. When it comes to syrup mode, there you have to be very, very careful. But otherwise, swallowing pills and makeups and lipsticks, lip gloss, and beside even Play-Doh, there is no problem. We should all remain healthy, especially in this time of dire times, and have a Chag Kasher v'Sameach.